Right, away we go. As you can see, I have a PSI Judge. He is painted black and Zenith highlighted. I didn't do enough. The rattle can ran out on me when I was doing a whole load of models. So we need to lighten this up a little bit to begin with. So I'm going with the Pallid Witch Flesh. I have to admit I prefer this to most normal whites now. It's kind of a warmer pale white. I don't know how to describe it. This isn't my forte, but I'm sure you understand what I'm getting at. So grabbing the dry brush, and we are going to cover the model. Whilst I'm doing that, let's chat PSI Division. Right, PSI Division is a fictional organisation in the world of Judge Dredd and Anderson's PSI Division. It is a branch of the Mega City 1's Justice Department that deals in supernatural phenomena using judges with psychic abilities. PSI judges are often highly strung and eccentric as a result of their strain of their abilities. While Judge Anderson is the most famous operative, PSI judges like Janus, Kieran and Corey have also proved notable. The current head of PSI Division is Judge Shanka. Hopefully I've pronounced all those names correctly. PSI judges fill many roles on behalf of the Justice Department. This includes reading the minds of prisoners unwilling to disclose information, providing for warning of great events in Mega City 1, and also just being a specialist judge to counter supernatural threats to the city. During the time when the Dark Judges were imprisoned, the PSI Judges were on hand to provide a constant watch over the evil spirits. Ooh, perfect for Halloween. So, we're now grabbing Leviathan Blue for the bodysuit. And I'll carry on with my little PSI Division chat. The average street judge tends to look down on the PSI judges, considering them flaky and over-emotional. That's a little harsh. The PSIs are indeed flippant, high-strung, and everything they're accused of. But this is both down to their powers, which they cannot block out the suffering of others, and because they're well aware that they live in a world where mutants are loathed and outcasted, and that their mutation is quietly tolerated because they enforce the system of oppression. Oh, it must be actually pretty damn hard to be a PSI judge in the Judge Dredd world when you know mutants are hated. Whoops, just went over the knee pad. We'll have to clean that up later with some white, but who cares, we can always clean that up. There are subdivisions of the PSI department, so maybe Warlord Games will make these models, or I'll just have to convert one of mine. We have exorcist judges who deal with exorcisms. The Department of Magic, tasked with examining magic and how best to police and weaponize it. We have the Dream Police. And then we have auxiliaries who have PSI abilities, and they are allowed to remain citizens as long as they perform whenever the Justice Department calls on them. They use the example of Juliet November, who, if I remember correctly from the magazine, she was a pyromancer. I'm pretty sure. I think she could control fire. Been a while since I've read that strip. But yeah, so PSI judges, they look cool. Abilities can range from like telepathy, empath, witchcraft, precognition, exorcist, pyrotechnic. There you go, Juliet November. I just found my notes. She was a pyrotechnic. And then, of course, the other countries have their own versions. So you have the Sovs would have their own, I think they're called the Inspectors. And they're a little bit creepier looking. Brit-Sit and Cowhab also have their own versions. A bit more like the Mega City American ones. New Delhi and Indo-Sit have their own ones. I think, actually, I just reread Crusade, which is a slightly older strip from the 90s now, and there was the Indian version from New Delhi, and he was like an empath. He seemed pretty cool, actually. Then you have Sinto City. The Vatican obviously hunts them down for the most part, and they try to burn out their souls. Ooh. The Emerald Isles has a weird relationship. They apparently have no PSIs at all in the country, and they frown upon them because they have strong links to the Vatican. And then Casablanca, which is a form of a Islamic settlement, slightly precog. So they're pretty cool. Stat-wise, they are slightly weaker than your average judge due to their psychic powers being used more. But in-game, these characters can have some really cool abilities. So if we look at Warlord games, for example, you can upgrade a street judge, a normal judge, or a rookie judge to PSI Judge. It gains an extra 4 points in notoriety, but they can pick a power. So they can get Psychonic Control, which basically allows them to take over a model for a turn if they can pass the test. Precognition, which allows them to perform Overwatch. Or Mind Probe. Now, I'm a little sad that there's not an aggressive trait in that mix. Just changing up the camera angle. See if we can get a better view on him. Yeah, if you're wondering, actually, the my room is in a bit of a state. I'm trying to reorganize and tidy up. So my normal setup is not in place right now. Let's see if this works. There we go. That's a bit better. A little bit blurry. Go back to here. I think that's the best place to be. Right, anyway. I'm a bit disappointed that you can't have a more aggressive power. Obviously, Overwatch is nice as the precog. The probe you can do stuff with and obviously taking over somebody else. But it'd be nice to have like the pyro ability. I think that would be a good power. But maybe in a future edition we'll get that. So gone back to the Pallid Witch Flesh. There's a few areas we got to touch up. Got things like the knee pad that I messed up. And there's some parts on the shoulder. This is going to make it super bright on those areas. But I'm really not worried. You know me. As long as it looks good from 3 foot away, we are happy. Let's just skip forward on this. I'll come back in a minute. Alright, the model is now dry. You can see where I touched up. I'm actually did his face as well just to brighten it up. And a couple of areas that I want to have slightly brighter yellow on later. I did both knee pads just so that they matched a bit better. So I grabbed the Orc Flesh contrast paint and I start slapping it on. It's going to be used on his boots, his knee pads, his belt, his elbow pads, and his gloves. Now I am painting at a weird angle. Like I said, my room is in a little bit of a mess. So I'll do this for a minute and we're going to skip forward because I'm not going to be able to continue painting like this. This is not working for me. Right, we're back. Sorry about my fat hand in the way. Maybe I'll cover it with a picture. Otherwise, maybe I'll zoom in. Either way, there's my fat hand. Enjoy that in the picture. We are finishing up the green. Just got his glove to do. The one that's holding the lawgiver. I do apologise for this angle, but needs must. I wanted to paint. I really wanted to paint this model. So this was the only way I was going to get a video of it. I'm definitely zooming in. I'm just watching myself paint and you know what? I love seeing my hand. I love seeing what I'm doing. But you don't need to see my hairy knuckles. What the hell? Right, we are now pretty much done with the green. Just see if I can get this elbow pad. I really like the pose of this model. It's very dynamic. He's obviously pointing up his fingers at something, summoning maybe his precog abilities to block a shot. He's got a weird ponytail though. But I think this model would be good for converting. The head is easily removed, I think, because of the way it's sculpted. Should be able to replace that with like a helmeted head to give you another option. Maybe swap some hands around so he's got lawgiver in the pointing hand instead. And whilst we finish waffling on about converting, which will never happen at this time, but I grabbed the Recklin Flesh Shade wash and I'm putting that on. Now, the nice thing about this wash is that it ends up really pale, which I think suits the psychers. And as you can see, I'm being very delicate because initially I was going to try and leave his eyes white. And then I completely mess up the other side. So I'm going to cover it up. But I thought it was worth leaving it in, showing you that I did attempt to try and do the eyes nicely. But it's beyond my skill set. I think my brush is way too large. It's one of those scenarios where I should have been using a smaller brush. And I did not. But hey, it happens. So at this stage, the model is really taking shape, as you can see. Got his hair, the gun, and his yellow/gold parts to do, which we'll do next. I'm using Iaden yellow this time as the base coat. So this is a brighter yellow compared to the Nazdrag. I like it. I'm just not entirely sure if it's the right yellow for this model. So I'm going to use it. If I don't like it towards the end, I'm going to cover it in Nazdrag. I gotta be honest, I think he's looking a bit bright. So the chances are high you're probably going to see Nazdrag yellow get put on the model in the final photos, but we'll see how it dries. Try not to pass judgment too soon. With the second shoulder pad now finished, I'm looking at it, it's too bright. It's too bright. It's not terrible, but it looks wrong compared to my other judges now, so I'm going to have to hit it with the Nasdaq at the end. But I'm going to let it fully dry in case it changes colour a little. But I think you'll probably agree with me, that's too bright. It's actually to the point of brightness that it just looks completely wrong. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I think that is just too bright. Let's darken it down at some point later once it's dried. I then grab the snake bite leather. And I'm going to use this for his hair. I wanted him to have brown hair, but not super dark brown, because I think it would clash too much with the pale skin, be a bit too brown. So I went with the snake bite leather. It's got a little bit of warmth to it. It's a nice brown rich colour. It goes on really well. So I'm just carefully trying to get this ponytail that turns out I probably should have done earlier on in this painting process, because it's right next to these very pale colours. So I got it right next to the pale skin, which is super annoying, and it's right next to this yellow that I just put on. So I'm trying to make sure it doesn't bleed into each other. Luckily Ottawa is having a stupid heat wave again, so this paint is drying pretty quick. But as you can see, I successfully managed to get on, and then I bravely try and give him some eyebrows. Not entirely sure why, but I felt the model needed eyebrows. If you look at most of my bare-headed models, they don't have eyebrows. I don't know why I decided to do it, but I've given him eyebrows. I don't know. I'm getting weird vibes off this model as I'm painting it. I'm loving it, but for me, it's a bit of a strange model. And then like that, we're on the last stage. We're on the Grim Black, sorry, that's Army Painter. We're on the Black Templar contrast paint. I'm purely using this on the Lawgiver, and it's so hot that the paint has dried on my brush before I even got to put it on the model. It's ridiculous, this weather right now. I think I'm recording this Thursday. Friday it's going up to 31, 32, like mid-afternoon. It's going to be a hot Thursday, and then we're having rainstorms all weekend for Thanksgiving. I don't get it. I just don't get this weather. But anyway, with this stage pretty much done, I'll be at the point where I'm happy to call this tabletop ready, and I'll put it down for the evening, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow and do some touch-ups. I think Nasdaq yellow is going over the yellow, so check out the photos and see how the model has changed. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to wait until tomorrow. I know this is wrong. Let's fix it tonight. So, grabbing the Nasdaq yellow, I think I'm going to try and use it like a shade. So I got my thinner brush. I'll cover the badge. I'm not too fussed about that. But maybe I'm just going to try and get it purely in the recesses on the shoulder pad, because normally I highlight the shoulder pad up. So maybe this can save me a step. Let's see. Yeah, that's working. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Oh, why is this so hard today? I think it's the heat. The heat is getting to me. I'm not sure. What do we think? I'm gonna cover it, I think. I'm gonna cover it. It's still too bright. Let's zoom in a little. Yeah, that's still too bright. The yellow is too bright for me. I'm gonna have to cover it. Anyway, drop a like, drop a subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. I know I waffled a lot in this video. I enjoy waffling. I gotta be honest, you're the only people I talk to these days. So I have to waffle. Drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers for watching.